Now, my next guest has been warning and pleading with our European allies to get their act together for years. Joining me now, former Speaker of the House and Fox News contributor Newt Gingrich. Newt, during VP Vance's comments, you could hear a pin drop, and afterwards, all you could hear were tears. I mean, I know these are smart people, but they keep pushing back, and they just keep rejecting everything that seems obvious.
Sure. Look, I mean, what you're seeing is the European version of what happened in America as Trump and MAGA gradually began to break up the old order and the old establishment. The European elites have controlled the continent. They basically built a huge welfare state. They opened their borders to millions of immigrants who are unassimilated, don't share their values. Just 2 days before the Munich conference, you had somebody drive a vehicle and kill 2 people, wounded, I think, 36. Again, nobody in Europe and the elites want to talk about it. And I think J.D. Vance's speech, plus his speech in Paris earlier, those 2 speeches are the most important wake-up call to Europe, maybe in my lifetime. Because he's just telling them the truth. If you don't change, if you don't modernize, if you don't become competitive, you're gone. You will cease to exist as a civilization. And that's a fact.
You know, in fact, the first sentence, the second sentence, he actually talked about that attack that you referenced. And he talked about how horrific it is. And, of course, he's there with his family. And, you know, and I think he was trying to make that connection, like, I'm with you. I'm here to help you. I'm here to help wake you up. And it's even arguable if they can even turn it around at this point. And, of course, you referenced the MAGA movement. Here in America, we still have a lot of resistance. So yesterday on Face the Nation, host Margaret Brennan tried to take Vance to task. This is while she was interviewing Secretary of State Rubio. Take a listen to this.
Well, he was standing in a country where free speech was weaponized to conduct a genocide. And he met with the head of a political party that has far-right views and some historic ties to extreme groups. The context of that was changing the tone of it. And you know that the censorship was specifically about the right.
No, I have to disagree with you. Free speech was not used to conduct a genocide. The genocide was conducted by an authoritarian Nazi regime that happened to also be genocidal because they hated Jews and they hated minorities and they hated those that they had a list of people they hated, but primarily the Jews. There was no free speech in Nazi Germany.
You know, there's 2 things. When she says, and you know that, Kamala Harris tried to do that a lot of times. I hate when they put something out as a fact that's completely ignorant and then try to force you to accept it. And you know that. Many say that Rubio took it easy on her. Your thoughts?
Well, I mean, first of all, the American left-wing elites are utterly, totally ignorant of history. They make up fantasies. They believe in the fantasies. And then reality hits them and they're shocked. But here's what's going on. What J.D. Vance and I think President Trump and frankly, Secretary Hegseth in another speech, what they're trying to do is the equivalent of having an intervention if your neighbor's a total alcoholic and you're trying to sit down and say to him, you have to change your life. We're trying to say to the European elites, you're not going to compete with artificial intelligence. You're not going to compete militarily. You're not going to be able to modernize your society. You're not going to be able to compete economically unless you have profound changes. And, of course, the elites are fine. Yeah. They're doing great. Yeah. The country may be lousy, but they're doing great. So they don't want to change, and they're frankly angry at us for telling them the truth about their problem.
Yeah, they go around every 6 months to some palatial place, stay at 5-star restaurants, eat the greatest food in the world, and have these great discussions, and then agree to meet again in 6 more months, and everyone else suffers. You know, 2 weeks ago, you were at the White House, and I was reading where you wrote that you left, that when you left that visit, you were as hopeful as ever. So tell us this groundswell of hope, why it's different now.
Because you have in President Trump the most consequential president, I think, since Abraham Lincoln. You have somebody who's willing to look at the facts, offer totally new and unusual outside-the-box solutions, be very, very practical, negotiate with everybody, and both here at home and overseas, he's like a gigantic breath of fresh air. This is the closest we've come to being able to replace the 90-year-old Rooseveltian coalition. And it is the necessary intervention to help our European allies understand that they have to change if, in fact, they're going to survive. So the level of courage that President Trump, Vice President Vance, and their entire team is showing, I think, is historic and remarkable. And look, they're going to make mistakes.
Sure.
You can't move at this speed, decide on things this big, and not have some things go wrong. But on balance, this is the most consequential presidency, I think, since Lincoln. Now, they've still got to pass a giant tax bill by May or June. They've still got to win the House elections next year. A lot of steps between here and history, but they're certainly off in the first month to an amazing start.
They really are. And I got to tell you, the roots of all of this go deep. Part of them touched you when you were Speaker, so I really appreciate you, Newt. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you.